What's up, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be exploring Wake Forest and everything that it has to offer. All right, let's grab some coffee before we get started, and we'll dive in. All right, so Wake Forest is located north of Raleigh, and it's probably the only suburb of Raleigh that's in this direction. If you look on the map at all of the suburbs in Raleigh, the majority are going to be in the southern half of the county. So with that in mind, if you already have family or friends in the area living in these suburbs, the drive times from Wake Forest to, say, a Holly Springs is pretty long. So if it's going to be important for you to be able to get to them and visit them often, it's not a quick commute, nor is it an easy one. It involves a lot of highways and a lot of traffic. So think about that as you make the move to the Wake Forest area, and if the commute is going to be something that you're willing to put up with. Downtown Wake Forest is pretty awesome. In fact, I'd say it's one of the coolest downtowns that we've ever explored. There's also some really cool places to eat, like Bodega and Sugar Magnolia Cafe or George's Pizza. There's also the staple of Shorty's. Shorty's is a hot dog place that's been around forever. And if you're looking for a beer, there's White Street Brewing Company. White Street has a really cool vibe inside and has some places to sit down and some games inside. It's a really cool place to grab a beer. So lots of nice places to eat, and it's just getting better. As again, we're seeing downtowns in our area completely being revitalized and becoming brand new places. Another kind of interesting thing is that Rollsville is just a 12-minute drive away, and it also has a really cute and charming small downtown as well. So, we know that downtowns are great, but they're really good if you're visiting a restaurant or going to a brewery, maybe doing some light shopping. But really, all you're going to get is a one-day trip out of it. So what are some other activities and shopping options in the Wake Forest area? Say that 5 times real fast. Luckily, Wake Forest has grown significantly over the last few years. So what was once a small town with not much to do, it now has a population big enough to support huge shopping centers and a ton of businesses. There's the shops at Wake Forest with a few restaurants and a Sam's Club. No Costco, but they do have a Sam's Club. Capitol Plaza with Target, Home Depot, and a Lowe's. And they're proud in Wake Forest of their Wegmans, as well as several other restaurants and fast foods. With a Starbucks on every corner, just like every suburb in Wake County has, Wake Forest has all of the large retail stores that are a staple of most people's lives, so you probably won't really need to make a drive into Raleigh. Though, if you have that Costco addiction, I am sorry to say that the closest one is in Raleigh, and you will have to drive there. But that being said, with all of those additions in the Wake Forest area, one of the things that I see in Wake Forest is that once you get here, you're kind of here. Again, you have no need to go to Raleigh or travel outside to get to these kind of staples that you need in your daily life. So people don't really leave once they get here. There remains a ton of undeveloped land, and with that comes parks, like the Carol Joyner Park, which has walking trails and shelters and an open amphitheater. Wake Forest has a ton of greenways that connect into the rest of our Wake County and Raleigh greenway system. And with Falls Lake so close, there's plenty of options to go boating or fishing nearby. All right, so of course, as you get this growth in an area like this, you're going to see new construction. And boy, do we see a ton of new construction in the Wake Forest area. This has been a trend for many years, and it's continuing right now. There are a lot of planned communities, some with maybe just one street, while others offer the huge planned community that you might think of with a pool and some golf courses. The two main popular neighborhoods in Wake Forest that have golf courses and pools and 1,000+ homes are going to be Heritage and Hazen Tree. Both of these neighborhoods started in the early 2000s, call it 2004 to 2006, but there's still some new construction going on in some parts of Hazen Tree, not so much in Heritage. With a median sales price of about $467,000, we're looking at prices in Wake Forest in line with Fuquay and Knightdale, but don't let this number fool you. With new construction townhomes, they're usually in the low $300,000 to $400,000 range, with the single family homes coming in at the $500,000 to $700,000 range. And then on the luxury side, much of what we see in Wake Forest is going to be in that $1.2 million range and up. So that's something that we don't really see in Fuquay or Knightdale. Now, we do see existing homes in Fuquay for that price, but not so much on new construction, and we generally don't see any homes in Knightdale at that $1 million plus mark. But we are seeing a ton of new homes and new construction communities in Wake Forest focused on the luxury brand at the $1 million plus mark. So that is one thing that we see in Wake Forest, that we either see homes on the little more affordable side. Again, I realize $500,000 isn't exactly affordable for everybody, but in our area it is. And then we see some homes on the luxury side. And honestly, in Wake Forest, we're starting to see a larger percentage of the homes on that luxury side, somewhere in the $1 to $2 million range. We're even seeing some homes in Wake Forest for $3 million plus. So that is a growing change that we've seen generally in the Triangle as a whole, but Wake Forest is seeing definitely a big rate of luxury homes here. Now, there's definitely a little bit of everything for everyone. There are homes with large lots and planned communities with smaller postage-sized lots, some small homes and big homes, and some old homes. You can find an old home in Wake Forest. In fact, there's one that was built in the early 1900s on the market right now for a slight price of $1.9 million. But there are a ton of brand new homes. And if you're looking to maybe rent something while you get to know the area, there's even apartments here like Encore at Heritage or Legacy at Wake Forest. And if you're looking for a townhome with walkability to shopping, check out Grove 98. That's being built right now, and that's basically right across the street from the Wegmans. So if you want to be able to walk across the street and grab a deli sandwich from Wegmans, you have that right across the street. Now, there are numerous great new home communities in the area in the $400,000 to $500,000 range, like Radford Glen or Elizabeth Springs. If you're looking for something on the more luxurious side, as far as a new construction community, I might suggest a community called Grand Highland Estates. That's one of our favorites. We've done a video about Grand Highland Estates before. This is a gated community. You're about 10 to 15 minutes outside of downtown Wake Forest. Prices in Grand Highland are gonna range for the $1.5 to $3 million plus range. But again, you get a huge lot, you get a gated community, and you have easy access to much of the Triangle. That's a huge difference between Wake Forest and maybe call it North Hills, right? For $1.5 million, you can be in a gated community with a huge lot in Wake Forest versus North Hills, you can be in the heart of the town, right? The heart of Raleigh, close to shopping, everything that you could ever want, but you're gonna be on top of somebody compared to what you're gonna see in Wake Forest. So it comes down to what you want. The convenience of being able to get to somewhere versus being a little further out and having a ton more privacy. So that's what we're seeing in the new construction and the resale side of the market here in Wake Forest. There's a ton of activity here. It continues to be one of people's favorite places to move. I always joke that when people decide they're gonna move to the Triangle area, they usually talk about one of two places first. They usually start with a search in Cary, or they start with a search in Wake Forest and then expand from there. It's been an interesting trend that we've seen over the past few years as people have really honed in on everything that Wake Forest has to offer, and the town has continued to grow around that. All right, so one downside of Wake Forest, and this is honestly the biggest downside in my opinion, is the traffic. As we've said before, Wake Forest was this small town, and then the growth has just exploded it, especially exponentially over the last few years. And the town didn't really plan for the increase in traffic, and the roads aren't prepared for it. Whereas other towns like Cary and Pittsboro planned to grow and made sure that the roadways are in place, Wake Forest has not done the best job of that. So you end up with a lot of backway country roads that are now trying to handle a ton of traffic, and they're just not prepared for it. And it's not that there's this crazy amount of cars on the road, it's that it's a one-lane road and they're trying to get traffic all to one place. And if someone wants to turn to get into a neighborhood, that causes the whole thing to slow down. So you end up stopping or slowing down, which, can be slightly annoying as you're trying to get home. So that's a downside here in the Wake Forest community. All right, so that's our wrap up on Wake Forest. Again, really awesome town, cool downtown area, tons of new construction opportunities. I'd highly recommend a visit to the area. If you're thinking about moving to the Triangle, Wake Forest could be a great option. By the way, if you're considering a move to the Triangle area in the next 9 to 90 days, let us know. We are a real estate brokerage team, and we would love to be able to assist you in your move to the Wake Forest area. And if you are, and you're thinking about new construction, watch our video here to understand more about what are some of the things you should look out for as you build that new construction. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. I feel like I heard a tree. Brand at the $1 million plus mark.
We have to wait for that.